Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says the Democratic Alliance has not yet responded to President Cyril Ramaphosa's offer to nominate a replacement for Whitfield. The presidency said Whitfield blatantly disregarded executive rules by not seeking permission to travel abroad. And there are no reasonable grounds for the DA to issue the president with an ultimatum.
I spoke to the president about an hour or so ago. When we spoke, he did not confirm with me that he had been given a name, and so the DA has not done so, which is a bit of a concern, because if one really looks at the president's decision from an objective point of view, within its own merit, and the request for the DA to submit a name, it says the president still regards the role of the DA in the GNU as important. He had to take action against an individual member of the National Executive who so happens to be part of the DA. And I think it's also important that we underline the fact that as much as we have members of the National Executive coming from different parties, that on its own does not absolve them of the responsibility that they have and the oath that they took.
And for more on this, we are now joined by political analyst Sandile Swana, and he joins us now via our video link. Mr. Swana, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Now we've seen the DA issue President Cyril Ramaphosa with an ultimatum saying that he has 48 hours to fire corruption-implicated ministers, and those are 3 ministers, particularly from the ANC. Maybe let's start off here. What do you make about the DA giving the president an ultimatum to fire 3 ministers?
Thank you, Balen. Good evening to your viewers. I believe it's an empty threat. It's a misguided effort, and it's not a sober spirit of collegiality that should exist among members of the GNU. So I think the DA has made a mistake.
And Mr. Swana, what do you make in terms of, the manner in which the president acted in this regard to fire the deputy minister, of course, that being Andrew Whitfield? You know, when it comes to his political muscle or showing that he's the president, what do you make of that posture of him taking, the stance and dismissing a minister, a deputy minister rather?
Yes, the letter is very clear that the president is working within the existing laws and exercising the powers that are properly granted to him by the Constitution. The mistake that Whitfield made is twofold. One is that he did not actually get the permission. You must ask for permission and actually get it and then use it. He did not do that. And secondly, unfortunately for him, he went into an arena where a significant number, let me say, of white South Africans and lobbyists here and in the US and in the West generally have been damaging the relationship between South Africa and the USA, which has been in good order since 1871. When we started trading with the USA. So there is a problem, and Whitfield overlooked both our foreign affairs minister and our DTI minister and went on this thing undermining the dignity and official capacity of those ministers. And
Mr. Swana, when it comes to, the posture here of, the president also saying, speaking to Vincent Magwenya earlier on, saying that the president in this regard took the stance against an individual and not particularly to the DA as a whole, because now, there are criticisms coming to the fore where many are even questioning if whether this government of national unity will be stable, will hold, because of this action which has now been taken by the president to fire a DA deputy minister.
The government of national unity is created with elements that make it quite stable. And I maintain that it is welded together by big business, who are able to control both the DA and the ANC and to keep them in the coalition, in the grand coalition. There is a clear misconduct here by Whitfield in a very sensitive arena. Not all white South Africans are agitating against South Africa relative to supporting the Make America Great movement. Unfortunately, he took a risk and is now facing the consequences of the risk that he took. That is Whitfield in this case. And the DA is raising issues like it did during the VAT issue that are totally not connected to the matter at hand, which is the misconduct of a given deputy minister.
And in that, the ultimatum here being issued by the Democratic Alliance, I mean, looking at some of the tweets from Helen Ziller, and she says Andrew was fired because he was effectively challenging corruption and job-killing policies associated with the Department of Trade and Industry. Can we continue to say whether perhaps, that Whitfield was fired for his trip to the US, like the statement from the presidency says, or whether it was for work he was doing within the department?
I think that the unfortunate thing is that the DA is moving away. They have no answer to the charge. There is no answer to the charge. The charge sticks and it holds and it needs to be fired for the charge. Now, if he was investigating corruption in the department, when was the DA going to disclose all of this corruption? When was the DA going to launch a campaign against those people who are implicated in VPS, implicated in the Zondo Commission, and many other reports of corruption that exist that the DA has chosen for a very long time to be quiet about and enjoy the benefits of the GNU. So this is a double standard type of approach, a very opportunistic and extortionist on the part of the Democratic Alliance.
And I mean, you're calling this extortionist from the Democratic Alliance. At the same time, they are expected to hold a press briefing when that 48 hours expires tomorrow. What are your expectations from the Democratic Alliance as a whole when they respond tomorrow?
I cannot imagine what they are going to be able to do. Their options would be to go to the courts and police stations and record and report people who've done wrong, try to make contact with Trump to launch sanctions against ANC members as he had threatened to do before. It would be that type of thing. But the DA is not leaving the GNU. But if they were to propose that, all of us are aware that Julius Malema has made it completely clear that he's quite willing to replace for the EFF to come in as soon as the DA leaves. And I'm sure even the members of MKP will review their stance, including the Action SA would also probably review their stance and want to join. So there's no shortage of people who can close the gap if the DA were to move out. But they don't have any credible option right now. It's an empty threat. This is a toothless dog that is barking aloud.
All right, Mr. Swana, thank you so much for your time.